guys, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. I'm Mark Starr.
I'm Tim Pratt.
And today we're going to be taking a look at a beer from a brewery that Tim and I both really liked last year.
Yeah.
They're called Saint Somewhere. They're out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. And this is their Pays de Soleil. It is a farmhouse ale, and it is brewed with hibiscus and also a little bit of Brettanomyces. So we went ahead and opened the bottle beforehand. I'm always kind of, cautious of bottles that have corks and cages, and for good reason, because as soon as I opened this beer, it shot up right out of the glass, or out of the bottle, so I was able to get it in the glass really quick. But anyway, yeah, it means country of the sun, by the way, Pays de Soleil, in case you're wondering, but...
and it doesn't make a mess on tables, which is nice.
Right.
He was good enough, he didn't even want to get on the table.
Right.
So there's that. But if anybody knows anything about, hibiscus or what it is, it's also, in Mexican cooking known as jamaica, but it's very red. It's very red, and you can see it in tea a lot of the time too. You can get hibiscus tea. And one of the first things we noticed out of this beer when we poured it was you can get a little bit of that ruby color coming through in the beer itself.
Yeah. I'll hold that up, but
you can see, it's got a nice golden, finish because of the beer itself, but blending with that, you get this red. And, if you've ever made a hibiscus tea or, something, I think Celestial Seasonings has one, it comes out red. Right? I mean, it looks like Kool-Aid. So not surprising, there's a little bit of that color.
Definitely some light ruby and dark caramel on there.
Yeah.
And I think I poured mine first, but looking at mine is actually completely clear, and yours has got a little bit of haze to it. So I'm assuming by the time the yeast sediment kind of rose up into the beer, that's probably why you got some of that.
Which didn't take long, and there was a heck of a lot of carbonation in this bottle. So
let's go ahead and pour a little bit more. The head on this one died really quickly, so I wanted to get a little bit more in here just so you could kind of see how it pours into the glass. You do get a little bit on there.
Yeah, one of the things that I definitely noticed after the first pour was there was literally no lacing left behind on the glass. And you can see when we first poured it, there was a good 3 fingers ahead on that, and there was no remnant of that left on the glass. Whether that means it's good or bad, who knows? It is what it is, but...
this is probably one of the soapiest heads that I've seen. In fact, if you hold your ear up to it, you can hear it popping like soap.
It's like Pop Rocks.
It does.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's thin, there's a bunch of big bubbles in there. It's, not to say anything negative against the beer. It is, again, it's just a characteristic of this specific beer, but it is pretty soapy and it's almost gone.
Yeah. Well, let's smell it because I'm dying to see what's going on here. I do get a little bit of that Brett character, which, it is brewed with Brettanomyces, and I really like that.
I definitely, along with that, I think kind of playing right in with that Brett is some kind of, it's almost kind of a tart, juicy, sour from the actual hibiscus flower that's in there.
It's a really pleasant smelling beer. Sometimes I use the word pretty, and I think it's funny because it just doesn't sound very manly. Yeah. But it really does. It's a pretty smell, and the fact that there's Brettanomyces in there.
It's soft. It's floral.
It is.
And like you said, maybe I totally interrupted you, but
fruity. No.
Yeah, that Brett will kind of bring that little kind of funky sour out in it. So I think in this case, you've got a kind of a tart sour ingredient in there, and they're just playing perfectly together. Yeah.
And as you can see, in just that short amount of time, the head's pretty much died out on that. But well, let's go ahead and drink it.
Absolutely.
Man. I'm pretty excited about this one. I really like how dry this beer is. At the end of last year, I really kind of became fascinated with beers that were dry. There are a lot of breweries out there. I'll just mention Dogfish Head. I'm not trying to pick on them. It's just the first one that comes to mind, where I feel like a lot of beers that are being made today are too sweet. And I really wish some of those would be dried out. This is very dry. I mean, it's almost Orval dry.
It is.
And I'm sure it's that Brettanomyces and the yeast that they add to re-ferment in the bottle that dries that out. But I'm really enjoying that right off the bat.
And it, through the finish, after that kind of initial dryness and that initial tang kind of hits you, you get some of the flavors of the hibiscus, you get some fruitiness, you get that sourness, but it really finishes with a bit of a bready funk. I mean, it really finishes out pretty funky, which is nice.
And if they had said this was brewed with raspberries, I probably would have said, I can see that. It has this really nice fruity character. So,
and it's also, we reviewed their Saison Athene not too long ago, and there's the finish also reminds me of kind of the same way that there's a nice, not just funky, there's an earthy finish to it as well. Not necessarily in this case musty earthy, but there's a definite earthiness that kind of finishes off in the back of the mouth and throat. Man, it's fitting with the style.
Yeah,
and I guess fully expected, but that part is definitely enjoyable as well.
What's interesting to me is that even though that head disappears really quickly, there's still a good amount of carbonation in there. I mean, when you drink it, it really kind of, it doesn't attack your tongue, but you can kind of feel the effervescence on your tongue. And I really think that helps facilitate those flavors a lot better than if it maybe, were a little bit too sweet.
Yeah. Well, Saint Somewhere tries to brew what they say in, the traditional fashion.
Open fermentation.
Open fermentation, and we've talked about them before. It's a teeny tiny brewery. I wouldn't even say that they're shoehorned into a garage warehouse space. They're growing into the space that they have, and they even, I think, still hand label most of their bottles, or at least did for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
tell you what, really good work for it just shows you. It shows you just how good you can do, on a small scale. Like how good of beer you can brew on a small scale. And of the two that we've had, I mean, I think I probably like the Athene better than this one. But I really enjoy this beer. It's not offensive. It's not over the top. It's real nice and subtle and soft and somewhat elegant, but...
I think Saison's is one of those styles of beer that you can easily take way over the top with what you're trying to do. And I think another, example of something, and it wasn't necessarily a Saison, but the brewery Orchard White that had lavender in it, and it immediately just was overtaken by lavender. It's easy to overdo a lot of that stuff when you have, a very almost light and delicate base beer. But I think in this case they've balanced their ingredients as they need to.
I think so too.
To kind of deliver what they were going for. So,
well, Tim, it's fun beer.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers
and
back.
Cheers to you guys. We hope we'll come back and visit the next time we do a beer review. And anyway, once again, my name is Mark Starr.
I'm Tim Pratt.
And we'll see you guys next time.